Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another fun and exciting episode of Yoml. This is a year of magical learning. Today we are going to conclude the second part of the book we started yesterday, The Competitive Buddha. And I guess today we have I don't know what this reflection is. Maybe Chris can clue us in.
Yeah, so we're doing part two of the competitive Buddha, how to up your game in sports, leadership, and life by the author Jerry Lynch. So this book's about mastery, leadership, spirituality, and the Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality. If you're a sports fan, it's awesome. And if you're a life fan and leadership, you want to learn about leadership skills and the Buddhist approach to life and competition and et cetera, et cetera. It's a good book. I liked it. Obviously, I wrote a two-part reflection, so I liked it enough to, to have to write more than one thing and maybe think about more than one thing. Yesterday, we covered
This stuff works.
oh yeah, this Buddhism stuff works. Yeah, like just that, yeah, exactly. And then today we're the reflection title for this one that made me think about is which wolf will you feed? And I will explain what that means in a second.
A wolf pack.
Yeah, no wolf pack. So actually I need to read this. I'm gonna have to read most of this reflection just verbatim. So an old Cherokee Indian chief was teaching his grandson about life. He said, a fight's going on inside me. He told the young boy, a fight between two wolves. The dark one is evil. He's angry. He's anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, angerance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the light wolf is good. He's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you, grandson, and inside of every other person on the face of this earth. The grandson ponders this for a moment and he asks, grandfather, which wolf will win? And the old Cherokee smiled and he said, the one that you feed. So this is like an old, proverb or whatever that they talked about in this book. And it just, I've heard this one in the past actually. And I really, it stuck with me. And I thought I needed to write this one out. So for me, whenever I hear this, which one will you feed? It always goes back to, for myself, this whole journey is a lot about values and a lot about purpose and understanding. It goes back to me thinking of values as food. So like the dark wolf is fed by everyone else's values. The light wolf can only be fed by your unique mix of values. The dark wolf will eat anything that it sees, and they aren't particular, right? On the other hand, the light wolves are super particular. There's only a very select diet. They are the gluten-free, vegan, only kombucha drinking, whatever, like, you can only eat a certain, they're like true, you only can eat steak at a certain time of the day, at a certain, whatever, like, that's your light wolf, right? Like they have a very particular diet that they got to follow. But here's what sucks about this whole entire process, right? Of which wolf will you feed? The dark wolf is feeding the dark wolf is effortless. The moment you wake up, whether you turn on the TV, scroll through Facebook, browse any website, ESPN, Yahoo, whatever your drug of choice is, I guess at that point in time, the dark wolf will just begin feasting, like like it's an all-you-can-eat Vegas buffet. The Facebook is a great example, right? Like if you want an example of feasting on everybody else's values, if you need a quick meal for your dark wolf, open up your timeline and just start scrolling through your Facebook feed. You'll see, somebody saying travel is important, another person saying, kids baseball game is important and being there is to be a good parent, another one saying you got to be out in nature, another one saying, go to expensive dinners and splurge and, date nights, and another one saying, it's fitness, another person saying it's, go partying with your friends, another one's about politics, and others about social justice and activism and equality, and others about education is important, and others about, I just graduated from school, and another one's about love and romance, and whatever. Like it doesn't matter. That dark wolf will just be inundated by everybody else's values, and it's just gorgeous, and it's like, oh yeah, give me more, and all the while, the light wolf is just sitting over there going, I'm getting pretty damn hungry, and nobody's feeding me at all ever, so the dark wolf gets fat and happy all day long, and it has an unlimited buffet to feast on. The light wolf, on the other hand, is lives off paltry 10 minutes of reading at the end of the day, or the 5 minutes of time that you get to spend with your kid, right before he goes to bed, after after you've I don't know, did whatever the hell you did all day long, or you get some time to go take a walk or something like that, if that's what you care about. Whatever, I don't know. The light wolf doesn't need a lot, and it often gets very little. But I think, as we've been on this journey, I feel like, if you're thinking about which one will you feed, I think we need to be better about, making sure that we give that light wolf a balanced diet. Understand what their diet is, and then make sure you feed it a balanced diet throughout the course of the day. And it's like I said, it's really easy to find food for the dark wolf. It's really hard to find food for the light wolf, unless you don't know what that light wolf likes to eat. But if you do, then you can feed it a well balanced meal all day long. It doesn't eat a lot. It's sustainable, and that's that. So that's my reflection for the day is, which wolf are you feeding each day, and love to get your thoughts.
I mean, I think from what you're saying, we have, I guess, two opposing, characteristic of personality, in a way.
Who, me? Are you talking about me and you?
Oh. No, us as humans.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So yeah. It reminds me of, well, no, I think that makes us who we are, and that makes us unique. But it reminds me of what you said in the past about 90% chimp and 10% bees. This is exactly the image I'm getting, because the wolf, right, is going to be the dark wolf is going to be the bee side of it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's about community. It's about everybody else.
Fit in.
The light wolf is essentially you. This is whatever you encompass.
Right.
That is the light wolf. The light wolf is about you and you only. The dark wolf is about community. That's the gene. That's how these two opposing genes. And I think in today's society, I think the majority of the populations is going to be, 80-90% bees and 10-20% chimp, which is the opposite of what we were trying to encourage, which is the opposite, which is 90% chimp individuality and 10% bees in the tribe mentality, in the community mentality. And I think the reflection you have today, it reminds me of that particular essence. And I think it's fitting, I think, because I think we get some sort of a fulfillment by reading the Facebook, by getting, I mean, the awe of the emotion that you mentioned in the dark wolf, right? That's the emotion that it basically comes out as this gene is being expressed, meaning like this anger, lies, and getting people, to me, when I look at Facebook, I don't know about you, but when I look at Facebook, I mean, I can't stand it. I just can't stand Facebook.
Or any of it, to be honest with you. Instagram, TikTok,
I can't
like
stand
LinkedIn is all the worst these days. Like, my God.
I mean, LinkedIn is the only one that I used to have, because they don't put anything other than, hey, I'm looking for a job. Hey, I'm looking for some business.
That's not what it is anymore.
Now it's like a bunch of BS. Hey, I was like, so I don't go on LinkedIn anymore. I mean, the thing is, I don't go on Facebook in the beginning. My sister created an account for me. That's why I have my name on there. I don't go on there. I don't have a Twitter account, official Twitter account. I had a Twitter account because I was building the Twitter follower getter or whatever, right? I built that. That's why I had it, but I don't use it because like if you tweet something to me, I would never get it.
Right.
But the thing is, I don't, for whatever reason, I just cannot stand the emotion that people give me in these social platforms, especially the lies, right?
Right.
I mean, to me, for whatever reason, live just gets to me. It rile me up and say, hey, I have this perfect vacations and blah. Because I knew like they only embellish the good and not embellish, because in the logical sense, when somebody, let's say the trick shot, like now I make a basket, right, and I shoot it like over the house, over the roof, over the tree, whatever. And it's like, I made it. It's like, but the thing is, I know deep down, I know that that's probably like the thousandth and one shot. They only show the one that works, and the one that didn't work, that he spent like hours and days on end and trying to get it to get, or they will fake it with using the blue screen, right, the green screen. And to me, I know, because logically that's how it works, because I can tell you, no kid has ever got up and walked, right. They're always going to have to fall at first, and that's, to me, is logical. But people go out there, hey, I'm so good, I'm impressive, I have this
Right.
skill, whatever, and it just riled me up, because I know it's just a blatant lie. And when I get on
Even if
there,
it's not a blatant lie, it's still overwhelming, because it's not what you care about. It's just being thrown in your face about what somebody else cares about, and you're like, you're indirectly being told this is what matters, right? Like, I mean, and it's not. It's none of it matters. It's fun to see other people damning,
but that's the thing,
but
is
like,
your
but
ten
you assume they're
percent your
damning,
ten
but they're not
percent
damning most of
B
the time.
is feeding off of that energy. It's
Right.
negative energy. I don't know. Can't say it's negative energy, but it's an energy of the B gene, right? I mean, the community gene. So people get addicted to it, because like I am not a social creature, right? To me,
Yeah, yeah, well,
I
yeah,
am
you
like
are. Yes, you
I
are.
am like 80% solitude and 20% like social. I can talk, I can communicate, but I'd rather not if I don't have to,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm not gonna just challenge, how you feel inside, but I mean, every human is a social creature. Like, you have a family,
Yes, yes.
you have a wife, you have
So
children.
so I'm
We
not
talk
saying
every night. Like,
social
you know,
in the average term, like
right,
how human being, right? Human being by its definition is a social creature, meaning
right,
that
yeah,
doesn't matter how introverted you are, how shy you are, you have at least 10 to 20% B, which is you
sure,
have to be in the community. That means that
right,
no one ever can live by themselves, right? That's the thing. But it's when I say I'm not a social creature by the standard of the average, I guess
right,
the average would be like 50%. Like, I'm on the other extreme, means that I like to be in solitude more often than not. But I'm not to the point where I'm not going to see anyone.
right,
It's just like, hey, like let's say the whole day I would see one person versus like 10%.
right,
So that's by that stand. So I want to make that clear. But like I said, it's we have both genes that's going to feed the community aspect of ourselves, because of our gene. When we do these social things, right, it give us that fulfillment of that particular genes. But at the same time, you have the opposing genes, where it's a, hey, I'm me, I'm myself, I'm building this, I have my own thought, my own thinking, and this and that. And so it opposes each other, because you cannot, if you take, it's like introvert and extrovert, right? You cannot read both. You have to pick one. I mean,
right,
you can have like a ratio, like let's say 70-30, but you can have like 70-70, and that's, so if you have 60, it has to be 40. You have 50, it has to be 50. So 80 has to be 20, 90 has
right,
to be 10. So it's not like, hey, I can have a hundred of each. You can't, right? Because it's opposing.
right,
So you can have a ratio, a mixture, but it's an opposing. So that means that somebody's going to have some fulfillment with the social aspect, and some people is going to have, and sometimes you're going to have. So that means that we can be both at certain times, but it depends on your composition, the ratio of the individual genes and the social genes. And I think having the social gene make us essentially at some point, um, because we have a certain level of the social gene, and by the time you have maximized the social gene, your desire, the fulfillment of your desire isn't going to be more if you max it out. Let's say you have, let's say for me, 20%, right?
Right.
20% of the social gene. That means that I can go on Facebook for like 10 minutes and I'm fulfilled, but then an hour, I don't feel any more fulfilled. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's worse. You feel less fulfilled. I mean,
exactly. So that's what I'm saying is, when I started Facebook for
you
maybe
actually feel
10 minutes,
depressed after an hour. You're like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I even on here right now? How did I get into this rabbit hole? I mean, dude,
yes,
I
that's exactly. So depending on how much of the social gene you are, how it will be determined how fast you feel that. If
oh
you
my
have
God.
if you have a little ratio of the social gene, then you get depressed after 10, 15 minutes. Somebody can stay
I
on
mean,
social media for days.
I gotta show you this. So I was pulling this up for a second just to walk through this. Like, so this is my just Facebook feed. Like, let's just look at the conflicting values going on here, right? So minus the ads, right? Oh, so you're supposed to apparently play pickleball in the snow. That's everybody, like, life is about playing pickleball out in the snow and doing what you love to do, right? Or there's an ad, ad Jesus Christ, so many ads. What the hell? Oh my Lord. I don't even see any of my actual, like, oh, go to Hawaii, walk in Hana, like, life's about, travel and all that other stuff. And yeah, sure, that sounds
But
cool.
that's the thing is they only give you the highlights of the thing they
Then,
want, but not the whole thing, right?
right. And then you got like a cousin of mine that he had brain cancer. And this is a post from them that they're remembering, like, that he's now recovered and he's like 4, and he had it when he was like 2, and this is an awesome update, but once again, like, totally different feeling. Oh wait, here's one about, I'm 11 months old, I'm standing, like, it's my first Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Anyway, like, it's, now you're like, oh well, my kid needs to be 11 months old, and like, I don't know, you're seeing this about, you got to spend time there. Then you
Yeah, I can't stand social media.
and then
Um,
now I have somebody that's excited about spring, because that's what they like to do, and they're posting memes about it. And then you have my grandmother doing whatever the hell my grandmother's doing, reposting stuff from other people. Then you have whatever. And then I wanted to do this on LinkedIn, right? So on LinkedIn you have yeah, that's work. This, I don't know what the hell this is. When I was 16 years old, I worked with my older brother Dune, who owned and operated it. Like, I'm sure this is some important story about life, and that visual has to be blah 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 blah. Then you have, I don't know. You can just keep scrolling through all this stuff, and you start to see. Last week I was in Vegas for this, so it's all about being in Vegas and celebrating with your friends, and I'm fabulous, and I don't know. I mean, you could keep going down the list of
I mean, the
all.
thing is, the social media, all these posts is making my brain become numb. I
It's
become numb, so it gets to the point where I'm like in a daze
look
almost,
what we
right?
do at Exabeam. We have, what are these, like, meerkats? Like, that's what they have. They have a meerkats. So it's European. Like, we're kitschy and fun, and we have stuffed, like, meerkats that we put in our team. Like, if you're not doing that, you're not, there's something wrong. Anyway, I'm just showing all this stuff to say, like, you could literally just go down a rabbit hole all day long.
But the point we're trying to make is that these genes, right? And I think you put it you know very very accurately in saying like we want to be 90% chimp and 10% bee, because this is what the I guess the more of a better ratio of having the 90% chimp and 10% bee versus the 90% bees and 10% chimp, because this is what society is trying to give us. Because you think about when you on social media, right? How do you feel? I don't know about you, but
I feel angry, envious, sorrowful, regretful, greedy, arrogant,
it's not, to
self-pity,
me, it's not
resentment,
a feeling, it's
inferiority.
not a feeling of satisfaction.
No, it's all these. It's I feel superiority, false pride, anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, like, arrogance. It's all the stuff that you feed the bad wolf, right? Like, this is what the bad wolf is made of. Like, it's. I'm not saying that social media is evil. I'm saying that, like, this is what it brings out in people, because all you see is everybody else's values being lived out there, and you're like, oh man, what? it makes me angry that I'm not in Hawaii right now. Why am I not in Hawaii right now? You know, it makes me angry that I'm, you know, like, or, you know, fuck those people. I'm not in Hawaii right now because I got work to do. You know what I mean? And like, that's the more important thing to do. Or, you know, inferiority comes out when you see that kind of stuff. And you're like, well, I mean, I work my butt off. Why don't I deserve to, like, you know, work at a company where they give me meerkat, you know, like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's all these things. This ego of why you post, why you consume all this. It just
But you're not
feeds nothing.
satisfied though. That's the
It's
point. The
awful. No,
point is you're
it's
not satisfied.
anti-satisfied.
You feel like, so for first of all, I feel pissed, and then I feel dazed. Like I'm feel dazed, and I'm not even like I can't even control myself at certain point, right? It's like, why am I feeling the feeling that comes to me is like, for one is I don't feel good about it. To kind of put it like as simple as I can, I don't feel good about it when I go on social media.
No, you feel
And
gross. You feel icky.
all of the emotion that was there, whether that's, you know, you're angry, you're riled up because, you know, some people say something that is illogical, or you feel depressed, or you feel like dazed and kind of bored and detached, right? So that's the feeling I'm feeling. I'm not feeling in the zone. I'm not feeling like, hey, yeah, I'm playing tennis, right? I'm giving you the feeling that you would have, like when you play tennis, you
your
really
values.
really
You're not
focus on
feeling
it.
your
I mean,
values,
you're
you
like
know?
completely clear, like your mind is so clear in the subject that you participate
Yeah.
in, activity you participate, because that's gives you so much feedback, so much positive emotions.
It's the fuel that it's no different than your physical body when, you know, you have a very very specific diet. What do you eat? Tell the world what you eat every day.
Well, I eat ribeye. So I only eat meat, and most of the meat I eat are ribeyes and beef. Right, so beef. So it's either ribeye or ground beef.
Now, you could
Uh,
eat anything, right? I mean, in theory, you could eat anything. You did at one point in time in your life. You ate whatever you wanted to eat.
yes,
You know, yeah. And how did that turn out?
not very good.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I got sick. I got diabetes. I was on so many drugs and the drugs doesn't even help. And it gets to the point where I have this symptom called restless leg syndrome, meaning as you basically your legs are restless. My eyes getting blurry. My shoulder, it just aches. It feels like it's gonna fall off. I can't sleep. I mean, it's just
not good. None
awful.
of it.
It's
Yeah.
not good. I mean, it gets so bad that um it's very very difficult to live.
Right. So same thing with me. Like, I'm a celiac, and I also don't eat dairy for the most part. I eat cheese now, but like for like a decade, I didn't even eat dairy. But I'm a celiac, so I don't eat wheat, barley, or rye, and I have a very particular, you know, diet. I'll eat whatever I will eat whatever I can eat that is within the realm of the things that I can eat. But like, you know, and I'm not too like discreet about that, I guess, necessarily. It's not like I'm like calorie count or something or whatever. I mean, I eat appropriate amounts of portion controlled, you know, like amounts, but it's what I can eat. So I have a pretty particular diet for myself. And I guess the point that I'm getting at is like, yes, I could eat. I did eat whatever I wanted to eat for a long time in my life, and it resulted in me lying on the floor, you know, keeled over in pain in my stomach, I losing a ton of weight because I didn't even want to eat any food anymore, because every time I ate something, it felt like I felt like I was dying. I mean, I had zero energy, like, you know, just crashing every single
Mm-hmm.
day, you know, after I would, you know, eat food, like, you know. So the reason why I'm even bringing this stuff up
I mean,
is like,
these
we
are the
have,
extremities, right? But these
it's not
for
extreme.
me,
I don't think it's extreme at all. I think everybody has a certain mixture of what they care about and what they don't care about, and what aligns to them uniquely to them. Then I think everybody has that, you know, recipe, that concoction or whatever of who they are,
mm-hmm.
that needs to be figured out, whether it's the values you live, or you care about, or the activities that reflect those, or whatever. But like, you can either do all the activities and be unhappy and eat all the buffet in the world, you know what I mean, and have all the problems you and I were talking about physically. I mean, I'm just giving examples of like what happens when you don't hone in on your unique, you know, the recipe, the unique recipe for you, right?
Right,
You know, and
right.
feed yourself the right stuff, nourishing stuff for you. I'm not saying what I eat is what I eat, it wouldn't be right for you, and what you eat wouldn't be right for me. Like, I mean, and that's okay. Like, I mean, like I don't. Everybody doesn't need to be a vegan.
But the
Everybody
point
doesn't,
is, each one of us is a unique recipe, is
right.
unique concoctions of different things. So you have to find out what that is. So to give the viewers a sense of what they can think about for themselves as well. You know, you think about you eating, like, let's say you gorge, like you go splurge on food. You feel bad, right? I know everybody does. You
Yeah.
feel you
Oh,
have
you
this
feel awful.
crash, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You have this crash, right? You feel bad, and then when you eat
I
the
feel like I'm
thing,
gonna like pass out because I can't hardly breathe. Like after like
right?
Thanksgiving, I'm like literally sitting on the couch going, you know, I'm not even joking. I'm like I do it on purpose because it's one day a year, but it's like fuck. I mean, it feels so uncomfortable. Like I feel like I'm like dying. You know, like I'm like I cannot process the food fast enough in my body. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you know, like for me is, you know, I am in the extremity of a recipe of a person, because I have a certain conditions that I cannot process plant-based food, because what happens is whenever I have that, uh, I basically go into a coma, right? I essentially go into coma. So the thing is, if I eat something that is plant-based, essentially I'll be out like almost 30 minutes into after eating. I passed out, completely passed out. You can't wake me up for the next
Right.
2 3 hours.
Yeah,
And
that was kind of how it
so
was with
so
gluten, actually.
that's an extremity.
Yeah.
Because then, like, the reason why I say that, because not everybody's gonna have that experience,
No,
but
no.
they
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but for an average person, if
Right.
you think you're an average person, you can recall the time when you go splurge on food. You have this crash afterward and you feel awful, right? That's essentially feeding the bad wolf. And if you feed yourself something that you're supposed to eat, right? Whatever it is, you don't have the crash.
You
You
feel
feel
light.
good.
You
You
feel
go out
light. You
there.
feel
You
yeah.
go out there, and you feel like there is spring, in your shoes, right?
Yeah.
You bouncy, you know, have so much energy. I need to burn. I need to
Right.
burn it. But if you go splurge and you eat everything that you see inside, right? You can have a bad not emotion, but negative feeling, negative, not
Yeah.
feeling, but your state of being. It's just heavy and negative and
Right.
feels awful, right? That's what I can say is you can look at yourself and relate to what I'm saying. For me is, for me, I'm on the extreme side of this human spectrum, because you know,
I don't think so, actually. I don't think so. I mean, I think it I think you just figured it out. I think there's a lot of people that just go through life suffering and 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 just continue to suffer. Like I mean I'm not joking. I mean I really there I think there is like when I got diagnosed as a celiac, um I I was 20, 22, sorry. And I just graduated from college, and I went and told my mother about my symptoms and how I was feeling. And she was like, I feel like that, Chris. And I go, Mom, you're like 50. And she's like, but yeah, like that's how I
everybody does that. It's normal.
yeah. And she goes, maybe I'm a celiac. And she went to go get tested, and she was, because it's a hereditary disease. My sister then goes, well, I kind of feel like that too, guys. And she's 4 years older than me, and she's like, she went to go get tested for stuff, and they were like, well, you're a celiac as well. And I go, oh shit. And then my grandmothers are like, yeah, or one of my grandmothers is like, yeah,
Mhm.
I kind of feel like that too. You know, and she's like 70, you know, at this time, you know, and I'm like, I'm like, you just kept going, like, you know, like this for your whole life, feeling like this. Like, I mean, and you know, there are people that just keep going and just keep saying, well, this is life, you know, like it's yeah, this is how
It
I
is what
feel.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, give me a pill or whatever, give me this or give me that, like, you know, and just, you know, maybe I can mask it a little bit and put a little duct tape on it or something like that, or
Right.
you know, give me A1C, right? You know, give me
Mhm.
insulin, you know, give me an insulin shot so I can reduce my A1C because this is what this is what it's doing to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the point of what I'm trying to get at is like, I don't think you're extreme true. I think you're not extreme. I think if anything, you're very average. I think that you just decided to take action and figure out what your unique recipe was that helped you be the best you, and that's what you did. And I think that we're both doing that now on this journey. It's which wolf are you going to feed? Like, I mean, I think that everybody has this unique concoction in them, and they all need to figure out for themselves what that is. Like, I mean, there's no pills you can take to do it. There's no, magic, like formula for everybody. There's no, this is exactly the right blueprint to follow. It's, you got to figure it out for yourself. Like, and then,
Right.
Yeah.
Right, like if you found out you're a rabbit, then you feed yourself carrots. I mean, just to simplify what we're talking about,
or
because
maybe carrots. I mean, maybe you just happen to be the random weird rabbit that just can't fucking stand them, and you're just like, guys, not doing this. Like, I'm gonna eat berries.
Yeah,
they're gonna go berries. Berries? Are you kidding me? Like,
rabbits don't eat berries.
Berries, and he's gonna go, that's what I eat, guys. I eat berries.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that to me is the key to finding the right kind of food to feed your wolf, right? Because you don't want to feed the dark wolf, regardless of how.
Well, you don't have to try to feed the dark wolf. It'll get fed either way. Like,
the dark wolf is anything that is not the light wolf.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like it will get fed if you let it. It will be fed all day long. Like, I mean, there is no shortage of food for the dark wolf.
By default, it'll get fed, but you can feed, if you feed the light wolf, then the dark wolf don't get fed. You think about it,
right?
It's not like the dark wolf will eat whatever the white wolf eats. If the white wolf eats it,
right,
then the dark wolf don't get it.
The light wolf gets first dibs on whatever it wants to eat, is the truth,
right.
Because it goes, it's that picky ass dog that whenever, like, you have dogs, don't you?
Yeah.
Is there a dumbass thing your dog just won't eat, like, and you're just like,
most everything.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
the only thing my dog eats is my steak. It's my ribeye. It's like she doesn't eat. It didn't eat her. Like, we buy her this expensive, like this Caesars. Those Caesars.
Right.
With all the chicken and all the liver. I mean, dog would love those things and expensive, but she doesn't eat them. So she eats like she eats the steaks. Like, every time I cook my ribeye, right? She comes to keep looking at me. But my daughter, she has to spoon fed my dog. Right? She don't eat anything.
This is exactly my point. It's like the dog, like that picky ass dog that you're like, you're supposed to be a dog. You're supposed to eat anything. Like, like that's what dogs are supposed to do. And then you get these dogs that are like, like that is the light wolf, right? They're super picky. They're like, look, I'll eat it. I'll eat all of it if it's what I want. But like everybody else, like, you got to keep putting it in front of my face, and I'm gonna go, no, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they have first dibs on what they want to eat. The light wolf has first dibs on what it wants to eat.
So that means that that comes to the white wolf, the light wolf first, and then whatever that they don't, it doesn't get the consume, it's get passed on to the dog wolf. Dog wolf is basically to the disposal.
Yep. Exactly. It is. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And the gar, and it's the shittiest part is like, if you knew that your dog only liked ribeye, then feed it only ribeye. Like, my dog only liked a certain type of wet food, canned wet food. It isn't. Mm-hmm. It's not just canned wet food that she likes, because we tried dry food. We tried dry food with gravy. Like, where we get like this little gravy stuff we'd put on top. She didn't like it. Like, she would literally just like lick off the gravy and spit out the dry food. And then we tried different other wet foods. She didn't like it. We found this one wet food that she's been eating. She's 16 years old now. We found this one wet food, like maybe 15 years or 14 years ago, that she finally would eat, like, just like no tomorrow, like just would lick it up, like, and would never stop licking the bowl until, like, every single day. we've given her that every single day for her entire life, and we've tried to change it a few times because we had to, because like we couldn't find it at the store, or like, you know, during COVID there was, you know, runs on dog food, and she wouldn't eat the other things. Like she just wouldn't eat it. She'd be like, mm-mm, not doing it. We're
I
like,
mean, I can't tell you how many times I keep going to Costco to check on dog food, because there's only one, that brand that she barely eats it, right? That's the only brand. And for whatever reason, seasonally, like some like, I don't know why, but they will stock it sometime, but
right,
sometimes they don't have it.
right,
And I
right.
keep going and
You're like,
stop by
no,
Costco and check on it. It's like so many times.
right, exactly. You're
I
like,
can't buy anything else.
the only reason I have to go to Kroger is because like every other grocery store doesn't carry this one particular type of food that my dog will eat. And I'm like, well, if I don't go to Kroger, then I got to go back to Kroger. I got to go to the other the grocery store to go get all of our other stuff. And then I got to go to Kroger to go get my dog's dog food. So I'm like, well, I guess I just got to go to Kroger for everything, you know, like, and like Whole Foods doesn't have it, you know, other little specialty things around here, they don't have it, you know, like even, you know, Walmart doesn't have it, you know, whatever. It's like only a Kroger, and it's like, oh my God, I can't even order it online, you know. It's like, yeah, I'm with you. We're giving a lot of examples to explain, you know, like you should be picky, like you should be really freaking picky, like
Because the thing is, it's about fitting, right?
right,
Because you have a certain concoction, a certain ratios of different characteristics. You have to match it perfectly. If you don't match, but by default, there's only one way to make the fit. Anything else that is not a fit is like any. So there's one fit and 1,000 unfit. That's the kind of like the landscape you're looking at.
Yeah.
So essentially, you're gonna have to find the right fit. If you like I say, if you are a rabbit, right, then more likely you want to feed yourself carrots versus, you know, some, you know, earthworms, like maybe, you know what I mean? If you're a duck, then yeah, you want earthworms or whatever. If you want if you're a lion, then you want some gazelle. You don't want to go and, you know, chow down on some alligator, you know.
right,
That's not your diet, because
right,
that's what I'm saying is your uniqueness need to have the right fitting food, whatever
yeah,
that food is aligning. So you have to align, and aligning is only like a unique set that can align. Anything else that is not aligning by default isn't aligning, therefore it's unfit, i.e. the dog wolf. And so
right,
when you have nothing that's aligned, you're not gonna feel yourself. You're not gonna feel, you know, optimal. You're not gonna feel, you know, energized, just because it just drains you from doing the thing that you're supposed to do. Because if you're like a lion, right? If you don't have the meat, right, how can you hunt? Because you don't have
right,
any energy. If you can eat, like, let's say a lion go eat like lettuces or whatever, and they can't digest the lettuce, where is the energy they get from to go and prowl and, you know, kind of like hunt down this gazelle that run faster in it and runs longer in it, right? So that's what I'm
right,
saying is, if it's not fitting, then by default, by definition, it's unfitting.
right.
And unfitting is basically a blanket. It's everything else.
Nothing but good. Yeah. No, sorry, nothing
Not
but bad. Is if it doesn't
nothing good.
if, if if you went to a buffet, have you ever been to Vegas by any chance?
Mhm.
Okay, you know, like the famous Vegas buffets, right? You know, and like I mean, I know the answer, but like I just want you to say the answer. When you go to a Vegas buffet, what would you eat?
Buffet. I mean, I eat steak or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, right? Like, you know, if I went to a Vegas buffet, I would pass by every pasta dish, I would pass by every piece of bread, I would pass by. I mean, this happens to me all the time when I go to. It's kind of actually hilarious. You know, when you say like a hotel, and they have like the like, you know, like say like a Marriott or like a decently nice hotel or something like that, and there's like a restaurant in the lobby, and they
Mhm.
always have like a, you know, like morning, you know, what do you call it, a continental buffet or whatever, that's
Right.
like, you know, nice, like biscuits and gravy, and, you know, bacon and eggs and fruit and oatmeals and danishes and whatever. Like there's just a whole smorgasbord of shit out there. And it costs like $35, or something like that, right? And I never eat it because like unless my company's paying for it, on like work trips and stuff, because like I only eat a very particular meal. So like I eat like the fruit, and I'll eat the scrambled eggs, even though I don't really like scrambled eggs. But if they haven't made to order egg chef or whatever, I'll make like I'll eat like eggs over easy or something like that, or whatever that they make to order, and then I have bacon. And that's it. That's what I eat every single time because that's all I can eat. And like I mean I all the breads, all the danishes, all the donuts, all the muffins, all the cereals, all the biscuits and gravy or whatever. Like it's almost like comical because I just go back to my plate or my table and I eat eggs and bacon and a little bit of fruit, and it's like and I just paid $35 for eggs, bacon, and a little bit of fruit. Like, and you're like, what the fuck? Like for me, I can't comprehend this, and I'm like, this is stupid, but like, no, that's what I eat. Like that's what I can. That's what my body.
I mean, but you think about it. If you say, I'm gonna pay $35, right, and then you eat everything. Not only that, your body's paying for it. You're paying $35 for your body,
right?
to carry this burden, this awful feeling. So it's like, hey, I'll sell you this bottle of poison for $35, right?
And you're like,
and
well, I gotta I gotta drink it all. I mean, I gotta get. I get
essentially, I mean, in my perspective, that it is it like that? You're giving me, you're selling me this bottle of poison, and I'm paying for it, for me to eat it, for me to drink it, for me to ingest it.
Yep.
Because that's how I would feel afterward. And I'm not, to me, like I say, I can give you the extremity, but for other people, they say, yeah, I'm strong enough, I'm healthy, I'm still young, and I don't feel that bad. But your body is taking the pain for you. It's because my body gets to the point when they say, hey, yeah, I have enough. I ain't taking this no more. I ain't sheltering it from you anymore. You're gonna get the full force of it. So that's to me. But for you, because for the viewers out there, some of you are younger, right? Yeah, you still have enough, energy inside of you and enough youth inside of you to, block some of these pain from going to your head. But when you get to the point where your body gets tired and they say, hey, I ain't gonna block it anymore because I got nothing left, it all goes to your head. Because the thing is, it gets to the point where when I was diabetic, right? I feel like I'm on fire. Like I'm being cooked by the microwave. Think about that feeling. It is the most uncomfortable feeling. You think about being cooked by a microwave. You know how microwave works, right? It cooks you from the inside out.
Yeah.
Right? That's the feeling. You're always hot. You're always and you're always tired. I mean, that's the thing is you're literally drinking the poison and you have to pay for it. And so if I were to say, hey, I would rather pay you and not take it.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, like
because if you pay for $35 and you eat it, you're double paying.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly right. Like the only reason I ever, I mean, to be crystal clear, the only reason I ever eat at one of those buffets anymore is if I'm on like a work trip and it's free, kind of. I mean, I would never.
But then you only eat the thing that you can eat, like
right.
I'm eating eggs or eating bacon, right? So it's the right fit. But if you're eating all those cereals or the biscuits muffins, and gravy and muffins and that, right? You're paying for it. It's like, I mean, literally for you and me, we are paying for a plate of poison, right?
I'd be miserable. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, because the thing is, your body is paying for it.
Yeah,
I mean, it is like painful. I mean, that to me, it's like, because the thing is, like I say, I'm at the point where if I eat anything, I mean, anything that is has a little bit of carb, and it's plant-based, right? I am literally, I'm not embellishing this. I'm literally gonna be passed out for 2 hours. Right. After 15 minutes to 30 minutes after I eat it, when it goes to my bloodstream, I'm passed out. Basically, I'm in a coma.
this is what happened to me
every single time.
this is what happened to me with gluten, just so you know. Like, I mean, it like I would come back to my desk after lunch, and I would just, I could not keep my eyes open. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm like literally going in and out of like, like struggling to keep myself awake because I'm like at work, and I'm like, I can't
Your
fall
body's shutting
asleep at my
down.
desk. But my body's shutting down, and I'm like,
You're not
yeah,
sleeping. You're not sleeping.
yeah,
Your body's shutting down, right?
right,
It's
right.
shutting itself down to try to contain the
Processes.
poison,
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
right? Because my body's so like I say, when I'm in a coma, right, I don't feel anything. You can probably like slap me, beat me up, I won't feel a thing. It's not.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not asleep. I'm not asleep. My body is literally in a coma.
Yeah, no, I actually, ironically, not ironically, I do know how that feels. I mean, this is how I felt when I was, going through what I was going. Every fucking thing that I ate, I would just. I mean, I used to be. Yeah,
You think about being drugged. That's
yeah,
that's
yeah. No, it was. I mean, like,
that's a feeling that
man,
I can give you an example.
it visually in my mind is taking me back to I used to go play basketball with one of my buddies. I lived in South Bend at the time that this was going on, so I was away from home. I just graduated from Purdue, and I was on my own for the first, well, I mean, was on my own in college, but I was on my own outside of college for the first time in my life, and working every single day, and my first job and my first career and everything like that. And I've always been an active person, so like, I'd want to go play like basketball or something like that at the gym membership that I had, or like, racquetball, whatever, stuff like that. Whoever I could find to go play games with and stuff, I would go do it. And I distinctly remember one of my buddies was like, "Hey, let's go play a get a run in for like a pickup basketball game at the gym that we belonged to after work." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, that's fun. Yeah, let's do it." So I remember like just vividly, like I was about to fall asleep on the basketball court. I mean, I couldn't keep. I was like dribbling the ball, and I'm like, I can't even be here right now. I can't function. I was like, I can't even like compete. I can't do anything. I was like physically, like I was just like, I mean, felt like I was running in
It's
quicksand and about
involuntary shutdown. It's
right. Yeah.
involuntary shutdown. You have no willpower over that.
I mean, it got to be so frustrating for me, and I'm sure that you had similar feelings. But like, I did like my own like dietary studies and things like that all the time, and like things like cold cuts, which you don't even think about, but like have a lot of times have gluten in them. I would buy like the
Mm-hmm.
cheap shitty cold cuts from like Walmart or something like that because I was young and had no money, and they pump them up with gluten fillers so they can make them bigger and plumper, and they could cut more meat out of them, and I had no idea. So I'm like literally eating cold cuts, and that's all I'm eating. I'm like, and I still feel like shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I would just eat just plain chicken, and I would put soy sauce on top of it to give it a little bit of flavoring. And I'm like, soy sauce has wheat in it. I had no idea, And I'm like, why does this make me feel bad? I'm like literally, I was about ready to give up. I'm like, every fucking thing that I was eating in my body, I was trying to be the most as stripped down and plain as I possibly could. And even then, it was like,
Yeah.
it was so confusing. My brain was just so confused, and I was just like, what do I do? Can I not eat anything? I mean, it was terrifying, honestly.
I mean, to me, this is the reason why I eat ribeye. Is essentially, you eat ribeye like medium rare. It's essentially like just raw meat. There's nothing in
Right,
there's nothing in it except for the meat, the protein, and all
right.
the nutrients that the meat has. But like, there's no like you said, they put in these
Yeah, there's nothing
not,
artificial in it.
yeah,
Yeah,
they have corn stuff, they have like um these preservatives, and they have a bunch of like sugar stuff, and whatever they put stuff
right,
in it. And so like when I go to the restaurant, the store, the grocery store, right, I eat meat only, but doesn't mean that any meat I can eat.
right.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
90% of the meat I can't eat
Right,
because it has other stuff in it. Like
right.
you go and you get to say, hey, this is a beef sausage, right? I mean, beef
There's
was
a whole lot of
raw.
shit in that. Yeah, yeah, right, right,
And so like there's like in all the packages of meat, right, there's only a selected few that I can eat that doesn't have any kind of uh, traces, and this is
right.
traces.
Right.
of any plant-based, and I can tell that by looking at the carb, right?
Yep.
It has to be zero carb, zero.
Mhm.
Not can be one, because that means that
Yeah.
they
Yeah. No,
add
I know what
something
you mean.
to
Yeah.
get the carb in there.
Yeah.
And so
People would give me like a piece of pizza and they're like, well, can't you just eat the cheese off the top of it or something? And I'm like, no, it's on the pizza. Like it's still contaminated, you know, like, I mean, if any amount of gluten that gets into my system,
I
it will
mean, just
trigger.
imagine, hey, whatever you eat, I'll dip the pizza inside, and that, in an acid bath, and just dip it like a sauce,
Right.
and you eat it and see how you feel, right?
Right.
That's essentially how it comes to me. It's like, because I'm so sensitive to these things, that even traces of it, right?
But
My
we all
body,
should
my
be.
body
Yeah.
will react to it.
As it relates to the wolf conversation, we all should be that sensitive, you know, like we should
Because
you
if
love
you
that sense.
don't,
Right.
eventually you will pay.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
will pay. I guarantee you will pay. I mean, the thing is, sometimes you're lucky, and you won't pay when you're 40, 45 years old, but you will pay when you're 60, 70, 80 years old. But you
Right.
guarantee you will pay, because it eventually your body is gonna stop protecting you, because because it get depleted.
You can only
It
fight so
stop
long. Yeah. Yeah.
protecting you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it the full force of the pain will come, and you will feel every single uh, neurons fired. I
Right.
mean, it's miserable. That's why a lot of people, and it's so sad that everybody that passes on nowadays is like, oh, we're no longer in pain. That's the kind of things I hear is, well, it's,
Right.
she has passed on, he has passed on. Fortunately, that he's no longer in pain.
Hmm.
That's the basically the top things people say nowadays, because
Right.
people are struggling. Yeah, so like I said, you will pay sooner or later. I mean, that's to me, it's like, eventually you feed your dog wolf, but the dog wolf hides it under the rug somewhere, and
It does.
and one day it's gonna come out.
No, you're right. Like
I mean,
it's
it doesn't disappear.
right. It's yeah, you're right. Yeah, you'll pay either way.
Yeah,
So no, yeah,
all the thing that they shoved into the closet, one of these days, gonna bust wide open.
and it'll all spill out on the floor, and you know, you're looking at a massive mess, and you're like, oh shit, you know, don't do that. You can change it. You can figure out your what you need to feed your body and your mind and your soul, and then go feed it that, and do your best to. No, I don't even want to say do your best. Don't feed it anything else, because like if it does, even like you said, even a little bit of grain for you, or plant-based products for you triggers you. Even a little bit of gluten for me triggers me. Like, you know, even a little bit of bullshit that you see on social media, it will trigger
It
you.
triggers me. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, right, right.
it makes
It,
me so mad.
I mean, they're like, you know, you know what, I promise you, here, let's check this out. I mean, you want to be triggered? I mean, cartel suspected of kidnapping 4 Americans issues
Alleged.
alleged apology. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but like, you know, okay, 6 dead in shooting in Hamburg Jehovah's Witness Center. Victim's mom are told, you know, is it safe to go to Mexico? Like, you want to talk about being triggered? Like, everything on here is just a triggering head. The Dow sinks after stocks of 4 largest banks in the U.S. drop. Oh my God, everything is falling apart right now. You know, medical tourism to Mexico is on the rise, but can it come with risks? You know, it's just like, holy God. Like, I mean, every single headline on here, and this isn't just to call out CNN. I mean, I could go to, you know, Fox News, you know, I mean, I could go to MSNBC, I could go to, I mean, VP savagely ridiculed for comments about kids' climate mental health. You know, 57-year-old supermodel calls out trolls over comments over her lingerie photo. You know, it's like Jeopardy contestants' reaction to her competitor's incorrect answer goes viral. I'm sure it was a Black History blunder. Apparently, you know, Like, I mean, good Lord, right? Kaepernick accuses his white adoptive parents of problematic upbringing. Like, my
Like,
Lord,
jeez.
what is this shit? Like, you know,
Like,
and I mean,
can you
keep
be
on going.
grateful?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders just stepped onto the GOP's loudest talking point. I don't even know what that means, but you know, I mean, like, it doesn't even matter. You get the point. Like, I mean, the talk about being triggered. Like, I mean, immediately I'm being fed by stuff that, like, I don't want to know any of this stuff. Like, Republicans are getting excited
Oh,
about
I didn't
this
know any of
concerning
this stuff
idea,
until you start
bombing
showing it.
Mexico. Huh? What's
I
that?
didn't know any of this thing until you start showing it. Now you're telling me the world's crumbling.
Right. I mean, everything. I mean, if you looked at this,
I thought everything was rosy. Everything was good. Our life was good.
it's
Like, you asked me what's going on today. I said nothing. It's like, it's good, right? Now you
right.
show me
No,
all these things. Like,
no. There's a whole lot of bad things going on.
You
Right
bust
now.
my bubble.
Right. Exactly. This is my point. Like, it can be stressful, anxiety. I mean, it's just so many bad things. Don't feed your bad wolf. Don't feed the dark wolf, man. All right, that's enough. We can wrap on that. Like, we're good. I think that was a fun conversation. So
Yep.
thanks for indulging me. Does that make sense now? What this title was? I know
Yeah,
you're getting more frustrated by my titles these days.
well,
It's ambiguous. I needed to say
it's
it
more
exactly.
it's more insightful. You have to think about it first.
Right, exactly. You gotta read the reflection, you know, and understand it. So awesome. Well, thanks for joining. And the question we can leave with everybody is, which wolf are you feeding each day? And I think if you haven't listened to the whole conversation, then I don't know what you were listening to. If you don't understand what that question means, then that's on
Then
you.
don't worry about it. You know,
Right,
you're gonna
exactly.
pay for it sooner or
Right,
later.
exactly. All right. So we will see you all on Monday.
Sounds good. Good night.